If you ever flip through a Guinness World Record book, you'll see the typical things like tallest buildings, fastest cars, oldest people ever, and then you'll come across much more random records like the ones you're about to hear next. 25. Most bees on a person's body. Yep, letting a bunch of bees not only swarm at you, but on you for the sake of a world record is a thing. In 2015, a man named Gao Bingguo broke the world record with 1 million bees covering his whole body. For the title, he let bees sting him for more than 2,000 times. At the time, Bingguo, who works as a beekeeper of course, was 55 years old. 24. Most facial masks applied at once. If you've ever put a face mask on or seen someone use a face mask, you know that the sight isn't exactly pleasant or natural looking. So imagine about 1,213 people standing outside in the street together, all wearing white cloth face masks. Creepy, right? Well, these people in Taipei, Taiwan probably didn't care how it looked, since they ended up winning the position for most facial masks applied for 10 minutes at the same time. 23. Largest rubber ducky collection. When you think of rubber duckies, you probably hear that Sesame Street rubber ducky song Ernie sings when he takes a bath. Instead of just one, why not have a whole collection? One as big as Charlotte Lee's. She has about 2,583 rubber duckies, as last counted in 2007. It makes sense that someone in the world would collect that much rubber duckies, but still, over 2,000? She must have a pool or at least a temperature-controlled storage unit. 22. Longest dog tongue. You see dogs panting all the time, with their tongues hanging out and their drool-filled mouths, but did you ever think to measure them? In the whole world, the longest tongue on a living dog belongs to a dog named Mochi, a St. Bernard from South Dakota. Mochi's tongue measures to 7.3 inches or 18.58 meters. 21. Most feathers caught in 30 seconds. We know what you're thinking. Who stood there catching feathers in the first place for this category to even exist? Even better question, who was the other person there to verify it? In any case, it's a real title, one that belongs to Jeremy Davis of Paramore, the pop-punk band of your middle school emo playlist. Davis caught 18 feathers in 30 seconds in a music video that we will discuss later. 20. The smallest waist. For health's sake, you probably shouldn't aim to have the smallest waist ever, though someone did fill that title, and her name is Kathy Young. Born in 1937, Young is described as a corset enthusiast, and thus, it all makes more sense. Her waist measures to 15 inches or 38.1 centimeters. When you take into account she stands at 5'6" or 1.72 meters tall, it makes her proportions all the stranger. 19. Largest jigsaw made of tents. Who thought that one of the largest jigsaw puzzles ever would consist of pitched up tents? Not most people, probably. The largest jigsaw made of tents once belonged to the University of Economics in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and the 16,000 students that participated in making the jigsaw in the shape of a lotus flower. Then, a year later, the title went to Qingdao, China for making a dragon consisting of 900 tents. 18. Most number of people simultaneously hula hooping. So the Guinness World Records divides this category into two different ones. Most people hula hooping in a single venue, and most people in a multiple one. In the single venue, the record stands at 4,183 participants, which took place in Bangkok, Thailand, under the organization of the Department of Health and Ministry of Public Health. In different venues, we have to credit South Kesteven District Council with 4,700 participants in 93 locations all throughout the UK. 17. Highest ground-supported tightrope walk. When you think of tightrope walking, you probably didn't realize that there's different kinds. For a lot of us, the difference doesn't matter. It's all frightening either way. When it comes to highest ground-supported tightrope walk, however, Daredevil artist Freddie Knock took that record in 2015. Knock was 50 years old when he walked across the Biancograd to Peace Privlas in the Eastern Alps. 16. The heaviest onion? Even all the GMO in the world can't compete with this onion. Or maybe it can. We're not scientists over here. We just thought that phrase flowed well. The record for growing the heaviest onion in the world belongs to Peter Glazebrook, whose onion weighed in at 17 pounds. Then came fellow Brit Tony Glover with an 18-pound, 11.84-ounce onion 3 years later in 2014. 15. Largest Cantonese fried rice. If you're a fan of Chinese food, you probably wished you were in San Jose, Costa Rica that day that 52 chefs all gathered together to make the largest bowl of Cantonese fried rice. It was 6 a.m. in the morning, and these chefs' efforts resulted in a 1,345 kilogram dish of rice that consisted of 200 kilograms of chicken, 735 kilograms of rice, and a bunch of other ingredients. 14. Most spoons balanced on a body. If you haven't learned by now, there seems to be a load of random categories on this list. It's amazing the endeavors humans will go through to be the best at it, such as most spoons balanced on a body. Who thought of that first? In any case, the record was set by Edibar Elchiev of Georgia, the country. The now 45-year-old kickboxing trainer managed to get 50 spoons to balance on his body. 13. Most fullsteins of beer carried over 40 meters. For this next one, the category is divided amongst being male or female. The male who carried the most beer steins over 40 meters was Michael Sturm, who had a record of 28 beer steins. Anita Schwartz holds the record for females with 19 steins full of beer carried over 40 meters back in 2008 in Germany, of all places. Makes sense though. 12. Longest time spent in contact with snow. Who in their right mind would want to spend all that time in the snow? Mind you, this means they're not wearing clothes because to win this title, you have to be in full body contact to qualify for the longest time spent in contact with snow. The one brave enough to do this for the longest time was Oleksiy Gutsilak, who spent about 60 minutes and 8 seconds in the snow. 11. Juggling motor saws. Somewhere in the world, people are trying to juggle motor saws in order to beat Milek Roskop's record of juggling 3 motor saws 62 successful times in a row. The previous record was also set by him, which was at 35 successful times in a row, so you know he's been practicing for years. 10. Most pairs of Air Jordans. If you're going to own a bunch of Jordans, wouldn't it be funny if your name was actually Jordan? That's the life that Jordan Michael Geller is leading with his record-breaking 2,500 pairs of Air Jordan sneakers, the most pairs owned by one person in the world. He used to own one of every individual model ever made, costing him over $11,000 US. Last anyone heard, he then went down to just 500 pairs. 9. Most attendants for a bride. Most recently, one of the biggest weddings in the world was aired on live TV. Royal weddings aside, people love organizing big weddings all the time. The bride with the most attendants for a wedding was Nisan Sala of Sri Lanka, who had 20 page boys, 23 flower girls, 25 groomsmen, and, get this, 126 bridesmaids. Maybe she had a lot of friends and didn't want anyone to feel left out. 8. Largest acrylic panel? We know. It may not be the most strange or out-of-this-world kind of subject. Thinking of who has the largest acrylic panel is more just like, who cares? The ones in charge of the world records do, apparently. Not only does the SEA Aquarium, or Sea Aquarium, in Singapore hold the record for the largest aquarium in the world, it also has the largest acrylic panel in the world. And you have that panel to thank for seeing all those 80,000 animals and holding 42.9 million liters of water. 7. Most live rattlesnakes in mouth. We don't know how this started, but rest assured, it's a record that's still being challenged. The person who holds the record for the most live rattlesnakes in their mouth at one time made it to 11 live rattlesnakes. The same guy who holds this record, Jackie Bibby, also went in a sleeping bag full of 109 venomous snakes, so snakes don't really seem to freak this guy out at all. 6. The world's fastest toilet. Upon hearing the fastest toilet, you might be thinking the toilet has a super fast and strong flush. Not the case. Instead, Colin first placed a toilet on wheels, a mobility scooter to be exact. That toilet ended up reaching a speed of 53.25 miles per hour or 85.6 kilometers per hour since the toilet scooter had a 104cc motorbike engine. First happens to be a plumber, so it seems he found a new way to approach his career. 5. Largest collection of garden gnomes. Whether you think they're quirky and cute or just creepy, it seems at least one person thinks the world of garden gnomes. Helga Eidenhammer spent 25 years of her life collecting garden gnomes, resulting in 4,443 of these botanical accessories that cost Eidenhammer about $90,000 in US dollars. In regards to her collection, she says that it didn't take long for it to turn into addiction. 4. Longest nails. The phrase "the longest nails in the world" don't sound so strange. The really strange part is what super long nails actually look like in real life. They don't just get longer and pointier in a straight plane. Nails curve the longer they get, spiraling all over the place. The longest fingernails someone ever had was Lee Redmond, who had grown them since 1979 and grew them to be 28 feet and 4.5 inches long. In 2009, she was involved in an automobile accident and lost her nails. 3. Most eggs broken with chin in 1 minute. When you egg a person, you crack an egg over their head, a seemingly easy feat. Have you ever tried cracking eggs with your chin though? Apparently, a man named Dragon Jetly, we know, holds the record for cracking the most eggs with his chin. As reported by the New York Daily News, in 1 minute, he destroyed 150 eggs. 2. Yoga on ice while snorting a fish. Wait, hold on. What? Yoga on ice already sounds like a weird reality show you'd watch when you're bored. Adding a fish up your nose? Wow. People really do have a lot of free time. A yoga trainer from India holds both the records for doing yoga on ice for 120 minutes, as well as snorting 8 fish up his nose in 1 minute. 1. Most world records set during a music video. Remember how that one band member from Paramore caught all those feathers in a set amount of time? Well, it seems Paramore's whole music video for Ain't It Fun was chock full of world records being demolished, with 10 world records in total. These included fastest time running through 10 paper banners and most cartwheels done in 20 seconds while wearing boots. So really, yeah, it does seem kind of fun.